Hello everyone, this is Priyasha from Crackzat, and in this video we'll be discussing some tips and tricks to be implemented in the IIFT examination, the exam day strategy, and all the answers to the questions you have asked me. I would definitely be answering all those questions and would really thank a lot to my friend Ravi for really helping me out in answering these questions because even after giving these examinations, you won't be knowing the perfect strategy or the perfect implementation of all the strategies on the D-Day, except for the one who has actually cracked it with very good scores. So thank you so much, Ravi, in the beginning of the video itself for making this happen and answering all these questions. And now I'll be moving towards the questions. Now, while answering the question itself, I'll be telling you the D-Day strategy because the questions are related to that itself. So let's get started. I would really tell you that we are having so hectic schedule right now that, we are just not having time to do anything. But in this particular situation, we were actually planning out to have a video together, but then could not make it up due to both our constraints that we are not able to, I'm working on a very urgent project right now in my college. And he is also busy. So keeping these things into consideration, but still making sure that your questions and queries are answered. This is happening. So again, a big thank you to Ravi. And we'll now get started with question number one, which you see on the screen, which is ideal number of attempts in each section of the IIFT paper. So over here, let me just tell you that he has clearly mentioned that there is no such ideal attempt, okay, in the IFT because there is no sectional time. So it's completely your decision to do that. But what is more essential and what you need to keep in mind is it's all about clearing the cutoffs of each section. So this question was from Shikil, if I remember the first two questions. So Shikil, please, it's for you and for everyone else as well who has this question that over here you have to put full attention into clearing the cutoff in the first half of your paper. Okay, based on the last year cutoff scores sectionally, just make an attempt that you would be answering these many questions, okay, to clear the cutoff. And then once you are done with this, start maximizing your scores in the sections in which you are comfortable. Fine. And the second question from Shikil himself is what should we stress on the grammar in the last week or not? Before answering this, I want to add something more to the first question, that is ideal number of attempts. That one strategy which you all can implement over here is to divide your paper into 1 hour and 1 hour. That is 2 hours of the full duration. So take the first hour and use this first hour to clear the sectional cutoff and finish the GK section as well. Fully finish the GK section as well. Now, by understanding which sections are a little easy on the exam day, the second hour can be used to improve on that and increase your overall score. So, as I have been also saying this in the other examinations preparation, that always remember that you are going to decide on that very day, depending upon the difficulty level of each section. So, therefore, here also you have to do the same thing. Utilize the first hour to clear the cutoffs of every section and identify the section which is easier that day. If you do that, you would be able to maximize your score in that section in the second hour of the examination. And let me tell you, for a general candidate, a score of 130 plus, as mentioned by my friend, is an overall very good score, irrespective of what kind of academic record you have. So that means if you are targeting for a 130 plus score in IIFT, you can sit back and relax, stating that, okay, I'm definitely going to get a call and I'm going to get selected as well. So, of course, if you do the good GDPI round, of course. So, but still, 130 plus score is a very safe and comfortable score for you. Now, optimally, the idea is to go for mocks and especially the past 3 4 years question papers as mocks, okay, and find out the strategy according to your strengths. Which sections are stronger for you, you will have to decide accordingly. So this was all about the general strategy, general answer to everyone, as well as a specific answer to the number of ideal attempts in each section. The second, okay, I still have a answer where I have some numbers for you guys, so I'll also be stating that. So, Shikhil, just after watching this, don't stop the video because then I have a table where I'll make a table and I'll tell you the number of attempts ideally as well. Now, number three, two is should we stress on grammar in the last week if we haven't practiced it before? See, this I also believe the same what Ravi has answered that not necessarily because grammar is a very vast subject and the solution to your problem can be the last 5 to 6 years of IIFT papers, which will help you to understand the type of grammar being asked in IIFT. Remember that the grammar is a very vast topic. So how you can conquer it by really is by going through the PYQs. So थोड़ा PYQs पढ़ लो, थोड़ा इधर उधर देख लो that what kind of exact questions are asked in grammar, that would help you more. And emphasis should definitely be on the mocks. Okay, if you have given the IIFT mocks, please start analyzing them right now, and that will be more than enough for you. Remember that time management is the key. This is also for the ZAT folks. Okay, in any exam where they don't give you a sectional cutoff, time management is the key. So you actually have to determine yourself how much time you would be devoting to each section. While solving the paper on the D day, your primary goal should always be clearing the cutoffs, okay? And clearing the sectional cutoffs is easy, but then you have to utilize the next hour to maximize your scores also, okay? And for the GK part, just take use of any online resources, just like mine, okay? You can definitely follow my Instagram page, guys, Crackzat Priyasha Das, and there you would be getting updates of vocabulary and GK and many more things. Okay. Now, number three. Question number three is the time right now. We'll quickly take the third question. And I guess the third question is from Karan. So, Karan, here we go. How to approach DI and LR sections, as I've seen that they are mostly lengthy in nature and appear difficult while we skim through them. That's actually true. So, my friend answers that generally LR is relatively easier to solve than the DI questions because DI is generally calculation, a lot of calculation intensive, okay, in IIFT especially compared to CAT. So picking up the right set will be the key of scoring a good score in DILR. But along with it, he has given a set of instructions for you guys. He has mentioned that the LR sets are relatively easier as he says. So I would also suggest you people that go for LR first because the first thing is to clear the cutoffs. So जो easy लग रहा है उससे पहले clear कर लो and that is how you will clear the cutoffs. So in the first hour, focus on the LR. But in case you believe that the LR is becoming difficult for you, then take individual questions from the DI. Individual questions. Now, what do you understand by individual questions? There would be some questions which would be, you know, not very much important to be seen from the full table or full data. It would be like, what is this percentage of this, or what is the percentage increase from 2014 to 2016? So these kind of data are direct individual questions from the DI sets, okay, which will not be much calculation intensive. You have to observe the questions carefully and identify that. And उन तरह के questions को उठाकर आपको solve करना है पहले. Without reading the complete set also, you would be able to answer a couple of questions in that case. Okay, so you can do it like that as well. So go for the easier sets first, and if at all DILR is not your strong suit, then please solve 5 to 6 questions and try to clear the cutoff first. उसके बाद दूसरे section में jump करो. Fine, Karan. Now we'll be having another question, question number 4. And this question number 4 is talking about how to handle quants in IIFT, given that the lengthy questions are asked most of the time. Well, this question is from Navya, I guess. So, Navya, here you go. In this question, IFT quants are relatively lengthier, but difficulty of most of the questions is easy to moderate. Okay, now what sections is he talking about to pick up first in the examination day? He suggests you to pick up arithmetic and algebra first. Okay, so you can go with arithmetic and algebra first in the examination because it's quite easier to solve them in the first iteration of the paper. And after solving 5 to 6 questions, you can check your speed at which you're solving them and the time taken. Okay, that is your speed. Now, accuracy is most important factor in this examination. So maintain a good accuracy, and even with a lower attempt rate of just 40 to 45 questions overall, you can score a 99 percentile. The only factor you have to keep in mind is a very good accuracy, because remember, one third is the negative mark here. So you have to be very, very, careful in this section. So I hope this gets answered, Navya. We'll go to the question number 5. What should be the strategy for the verbal section? All right, this is, I guess, the question of Deep Jyoti. So for the verbal section, dear, please focus that the RCs would be lengthy. Grammar, synonyms, and miscellaneous matching questions will be the ones which can be very useful for scoring some marks in a shorter period of time, because time is a very important factor here. So even without reading the long RCs, you can focus on the synonym types questions, grammatical questions, and miscellaneous matching questions to score higher in a lesser period of time. So if you're talking about just the RCs, then you have to first go through the questions. Here, if you guys have followed my, RC note making videos, there you must have seen that I will always suggest you either check the type of questions, and then, I mean, it depends upon what kind of passage is given. If it's a heavy inference based passage, don't read the questions first. But IIFT has generally seen a pattern of very directive questions in the RCs. So therefore, please read the questions first and then go to the RC. Pick one or two RCs which are easier to comprehend and shorter in length, and then do the remaining RCs in the last 30 minutes if the time permits. So what his strategy in verbal section was that he attempted two sets of RCs and the remaining grammar, synonym, and matching questions in the verbal section, and then came back in the last 30 minutes to attempt one more RC. Only if the time permits you to do that, you can also do that. But for clearing the cutoff, focus on two RCs, okay, and the remaining verbal section. That's all. Now we'll take the question number 6 over here. The question number 6 is, what should be the ideal attempt rate, because there is no clear cutoff for the attempt data available anywhere. So this question was from Gauri here. So here we go, Gauri. So this was the first question from Shikil also. So this was what I was saying, that he has helped me with some numbers as well. So for the various sections, you guys can make a note of it. For the various sections, we'll start with GA. Okay, that is the GK, general awareness. Here you are, the cutoff, the first round cutoff is 5 to 6 questions of GK. This should be somewhere around a clear cutoff for you in GK, depending upon last year's percentile. Okay, for the DILR, your 8 to 10 question attempts would be a good attempt rate, and the marks which would be your cutoff would be 10 to 15 marks. Okay, then this is attempt rate, and this is the cutoff which he is sharing. So don't confuse in this. This is your attempts, number of good attempts, and this is the score which is your cutoff. And similarly, for the VARC section, your number of idle attempts can be around 20 to 22, and the cutoff which you require is 30 to 35. Okay. And if you are still worried about what is the pattern, which questions are 3 marks and which questions are other marks, you can definitely go and check that on internet also. Okay. That data is available on internet. Then if you don't know that, you can ask me in the comment section, no problem. QA section, the ideal attempt would be 8 to 10 questions, and then marks of 18 to 20 as a cutoff is definitely seen over there in the IIFT papers. So this is the numbers, the ideal attempt and the ideal cutoff, okay, which you guys can go around and follow for this year as well, because this is something he gathered from his last year data, because he's also the first year student at IIFT, so he has also gathered this data from there, last year's performance only. So he says that an overall attempt of 45 to 50 questions with 80 plus percentile of accuracy would be more than enough for you to grab a very successful number in IIFT. Okay, so you can readily focus on that. Remember that the attempts in the individual sections can vary based on the time availability and the difficulty of the actual exam day. So these numbers are just based on the data which he found last year. Okay, now we have a question, a very basic one, how to tackle each section, where we have been talking about this from a very long time now, Gaurav. This question was yours. So we have talked about the several sections already, but then still just wanted to tell you that if you are worried about how much time you guys should spend in each section, he has come up with some related data. And the data says that for the GK section, you should avoid attempting random questions at first. First, attempt those 5 to 6 questions which you know. Okay, so try to attempt 5 to 6 questions with high accuracy. Okay, something which you know. Okay, should be definitely your forte. And then remember that you can maximize your score in that, but the time which you should take in this general awareness section should be a max of 5 minutes, not more than that. Then when it comes to the DILR section, try to give it not more than 20-30 minutes. Okay, that would be more than enough. And when it comes to the VA section, of course, it's very lengthy and verbose, so it might take up your 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, and when it comes to the QA section, you can devote it 30 minutes to 40 minutes, okay, of the examination. And the remaining 10 minutes which he is leaving here will act as a buffer to clear your sectional cutoff in any of the cases. And if you find that the QA is a weak area for you, then please allot more time to the DILR or the VARC section and just give only few minutes, like just reduce from here. Give it only 15-20 minutes in the QA section to clear the cutoff and add those 10-15 minutes extra in the DILR or the verbal section to increase your score in that. Okay, maximize your score in that. Now, we'll move to the next question, how to prepare for grammar and quants. Well, this question comes from, I guess, Ankush. So, Ankush, here we go. You can prepare it from the mocks. Okay, if you're taking any mocks from any standard institute like CL or IMS, Kraku, they provide you mocks on IIFT. You can solve the last 4-5 years of paper. That would be more than enough for you as well to prepare for, grammar and quants in this particular leftover time. That's why I'm saying this leftover time. Okay. So it's better to go for the IIFT papers or the box you have already given. And for the arithmetic, algebra, and numbers, focus more on these topics of quants rather than anything else because geometry, as he says, is relatively difficult for compared to the past year papers. So therefore, you can focus on arithmetic, algebra, and numbers over here. Coming to the next question, anything special about the admit card? Well, this question was from my friend Aditya, so not really, not anything else apart from reading the instructions carefully. But for being on the safer side, you can take 2-3 sets of color printout over here, okay? In case they come up saying that no, we need a color printout or something, so better take a color printout of your admit card and keep 2-3 sets ready so that by any chance, if you miss on one, you can keep the other ready. Okay. And the last question for this video, guys, how to attempt long RCs in such much effective way. And also, please share the tips regarding managing quant section. Be a numerophile, as I am finding very difficulty with its long questions full of numbers and data. Well, this is true. This does happen a lot. Okay. And I guess this question was from Umang. So here we go, Umang. See, long RCs, it's about picking the correct RC with a theme that one can easily comprehend and read through. So when you are reading through or gliding through the RCs, please check the theme of the RC and the theme with which you are comfortable or which you think you can read and understand, pick that RC first. Sometimes skimming through the questions can be a good idea too for faster solving of the questions before reading through the RCs. So since more of the questions of RCs in the IIFT are, direct fact-based questions, so you can take that risk of reading the questions first and searching the answer in the RCs after that. And try to make 1 point for each part of a RC so that while solving the questions, you can come back to that RC and refer to that as well. This is the note-making process, Umang. If you don't know how to make notes during reading the RCs, please refer to my live sessions on RC note making. Any one session would be more than enough for you to get an idea of how to start writing down keywords with every paragraph. So if you do that, it will really be helpful, especially in these lengthy RCs. And one more tip is that there will be many questions that can be answered directly from the RCs also without any inferences. So identify the fact-based questions and maximize your score in the fact-based questions. Okay, and for the quant section, it is about adjusting to the question types. This will be unrelated information. A lot of unrelated information, also called as superfluous data. Now, when we make mocks, right? we make mocks and we give superfluous data to you guys. I'm so sorry for that. But yes, that's how we are instructed to make questions. We give you superfluous data, something which is completely unrelated to the real question being asked, but then increases the length of the question at the same time leaves the candidate with a decision. It will leave you with a decision to take कि मैं इसको use करूँ या इस data को use ना करूँ. So focus on the final requirement in the question and then solve it. Pick up only those numbers which you find are related to the question being asked. Okay, and okay, while clearing the cutoff, one thing should be there in your mind that only pick those questions with which you are comfortable, those topics in which you are comfortable. The rest is just trying to solve the past year papers to understand the language and the pattern of the questions. Arithmetic and algebra, as told earlier, will be the chief areas to focus on. And if you are doing good at geometry already, then you can also try to go with those questions. Otherwise, if you are someone who is not good with geometry, try to avoid it, as my friend says, because it's a slightly on a difficult end. All right, then. So finally, we come to the end of this video where we have discussed all the tips, strategies, FAQs, and things like that. So on a last note, all the best to all of you for the examination. I wish you come out with flying colors. And at the same time, don't forget to like this video and share it with more and more people, guys. Sharing is caring, right? So share it with more and more people so that this family grows big in number. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. And a last note to everyone, every listener, everyone out there, that guys, I've focused more on English. The reason being that is not just because English is something which will be understood by many of you, and also, there are some South Indian friends of mine who are watching this channel and are requesting me every time to speak in English. Of course, it's required. And I myself believe that if you're preparing for an MBA entrance examination and trying to learn things in Hindi, this won't really work. Okay. I do include that because I get, double comments. Like I get comments for people for English as well as for Hindi. But then the thing is, I would obviously go for English because, the more you listen to English, at least by my videos, the more you will be understanding and getting that ability to comprehend fast English. Okay, so the panelists out there might be asking you super speed English in front of you and you will go all blank. Would you like this to happen to you? No, right? So, and unfortunately, we have a section of verbal in every entrance examination. So, when it is English in the exams also, how can you, even think of not using English while explaining the question? If you can't understand something, do let me know. We will be trying to, we can discuss this in our discussion Telegram group, but then not in Hindi, guys. Because try to understand. आप अपनी पूरी लाइफ हिंदी में ही बात कर रहे हो अपने घर में अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ. अगर यहाँ पर समझने में भी आप हिंदी में ही बात करोगे तो एग्जामिनेशन डे में या फिर जीडीपीआई राउंड में आपके मुंह से हिंदी की जगह जब इंग्लिश जबरदस्ती आप अपने दिमाग को इंग्लिश निकालने बोलोगे तो वो नहीं रह जाएगा. ओके, एंड आई डोंट वांट दैट टू हैपन एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई विल कंटिन्यू डूइंग दिस इन इंग्लिश because all the exams have verbal section. Okay, so stop commenting below because you make like with regards to that. All right then, thank you so much for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.